Everyone, hope everybody's having a wonderful evening out there and everybody's doing well out there this evening. Welcome back to another Weather on the Go weather forecast. My name's Hunter and we're tracking two impactful winter storms that will bring heavy snow, ice, heavy rain, and significant rounds of severe weather. We're going to be diving into every aspect of these two winter storms in this forecast, so might as well subscribe to the channel so you can follow along with all my detailed, accurate weather breakdowns. Like the video, give it a thumbs up, and also share this video with friends, family, and on social media. I truly do appreciate it. So let's get into the temperature forecast here in the short term. We're talking some pretty cold air up here into Montana, but especially southern Canada and even the northern plains, upper Midwest. That's where we see the deeper blues and those purples. That's where the real cold air is, but even below normal temperatures, trending all the way down into Texas, into Arkansas, even into western Tennessee, really going through the upcoming weekend. Let's look at our temperatures that we achieved this afternoon here on Tuesday, February 11th across the west. Notice pretty cold up here in the Pacific Northwest, especially in those higher elevations. We did actually see some warmer air across Southern California, Arizona, and New Mexico. Temperatures here were in the 60s and 70s. Notice as we go here into tomorrow morning, it's going to be pretty cold again as temperatures bottom out into the 15-20 degree below zero range up here across Montana, Wyoming, into Idaho. And our feel-like temperatures, especially northeastern Montana, we're going to be into the 35 degrees below zero range. So another morning where we're going to have to break out those thick winter coats, cover exposed skin, because frostbite in these conditions can occur in less than 20 minutes. That is for sure. How about the central U.S.? I think the coldest air trending north, so we're looking at the Dakotas, Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, Wisconsin. That's where our low temperatures are going to get real cold here after already high temperatures around zero this afternoon. We're going to get pretty cold tonight and into tomorrow morning here. If you're at the bus stop in Nebraska or Iowa, Wisconsin tomorrow, our temperatures are going to be around zero with wind chills that'll be into the 10 below zero range. Teens to 20s below zero further north toward North Dakota, northern Minnesota. That's where wind chills are going to be trending 30-35 degrees below zero up here. So definitely a very cold start to your Wednesday, and not too warm to the south either. Still pretty chilly down here for your Wednesday afternoon toward Texas. Looking at the east, this afternoon, not too shabby of a winter afternoon across the northeast. Temperatures in the 20s. We rebounded nicely after a cold start here in Maine. And then looking here at tomorrow morning for your Wednesday, we're seeing some below zero temperatures in northern Maine, maybe upstate New York. Otherwise, we're seeing positive single digits here across coastal Maine, New Hampshire, Vermont, and central New York. The Ohio Valley, Mid-Atlantic, we're going to see low temperatures right around freezing or so, and then we're going to see more of those 40s, 50s, and 60s trending across the deep south and southeast to start your Wednesday. So looking here at the evolution of what our radar is looking like this evening, we are seeing some snow showers over here in the Mid-Atlantic. Also a little bit of a mixture of rain, snow, sleet, and freezing rain across especially West Virginia and Virginia as that cold air damming kind of moves further to the south. All rain, thunderstorm activity across the Gulf Coast states from Texas all the way to Georgia, even South Carolina, keeping an eye on that. A couple stronger thunderstorms cannot be ruled out. Going to tomorrow morning, we're going to develop our first winter storm here of the two that we're talking about across Kansas and Missouri. So Kansas City, your morning commute going to be snow-covered roads. Same thing up here toward Des Moines and maybe even Topeka, Kansas as well. So we're going to be seeing a lot of snow-covered roads up here. Make sure you are traveling slowly to get to your destination and allowing extra time to get you to your destination, whether that's work or any errands that you have to run as we go in through the day on Wednesday. Further south, thunderstorm activity, something to watch as we go through the Wednesday time frame. And just looking at the winter storm in general here on the cold side, we are going to be seeing some decent snowfall accumulations. Now, the snowfall accumulations, yes, I understand, have trended down, but this is still going to be an impactful winter storm, to say the least, okay? So we're looking here at Topeka, Kansas City, a good 4 to 8 inches worth of snow. Des Moines, we're looking at 4 to 8 inches. Over here into Cedar Rapids, more like 3 to 7. We're looking at the Davenport area to Rockford, Illinois, around 3 to 6 inches. Chicago trending more of about 2 to 5. Milwaukee looks like the hot spot here of anywhere from 5 to 9 inches. And then trending further east in towards Detroit, you're kind of still on that rain snow line. So we're looking at more of 2 to 4 inches for you. Lansing, a little bit northwest of Detroit, we're looking at more of 3 to 6 inches. Same thing up there toward Traverse City, Michigan with 3 to 6 inches, and then more of an interior northeast event up toward Watertown, New York, upstate New York there, Vermont, New Hampshire, and northern Maine, mainly a 3 to 6 or 4 to 7 inch snow event for you over the next couple of days. Now, the transition zone between the snow and the rain will bring some ice here. We could be seeing some light glaze to a 2/10 of an inch. Would not be shocked to see an isolated 1/4 inch ice total, especially the closer you get up here towards central and northern Indiana or northwest Ohio. So from around Detroit, Toledo, down toward into portions of Indianapolis or Terre Haute, that's where we could see the heaviest ice accumulations, 2/10 of an inch, possibly pushing up to a 1/4 of an inch of ice that will impact the road conditions out there and make travel very treacherous. So make sure you're taking it slow out on those roadways. Now, on the warm side of the system, we are tracking some severe weather. Now, if you have been paying attention, this has been uptrending as well over the past couple of days. So even though the snow side has been downtrending, the warm side of the storm has been uptrending with the severe weather. We have a level 2 out of 5 slight risk of severe weather across eastern Louisiana, south central Mississippi, much of the state of Alabama, and into western Georgia as we go into Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening, and Wednesday night. And this is for all modes of severe weather, okay? Damaging winds, 60, 70 miles an hour, 1/4, even $half size hail, and yes, the potential for a few tornadoes as we go through the day on Wednesday. Let's talk you through the evolution of the forecast here because there's a lot going on. So we have a lot of heavy rain as we go into this evening across Dixie Alley. So from East Texas through Louisiana, Mississippi, Alabama, even up into Tennessee there and into North Georgia. Pretty rainy as we go through the nighttime tonight. A lot of these showers and storms will be more garden variety, so we're not talking any severe weather or anything like that. Wouldn't rule out some pea-sized hail, but other than that, just a generally heavy rainfall setup tonight. Going into Wednesday morning, a very big complex of thunderstorms will be developing back here near the Mississippi River into southern Arkansas, Louisiana, and western Mississippi. These will sweep east through the morning into Mississippi. So Jackson, Mississippi here, Tupelo down here into Natchez, going to be very wet to start your Wednesday. And then how quick do these storms move east, right? If we see a rainy, dreary day across the deep south as we go through tomorrow, it will squelch the severe weather threat, squelch the storm energy. If the storms clear out in time, we'll have a little bit of a break here, and that could cause an eruption of some strong to severe storms Wednesday mid-afternoon, heading into the late afternoon and into the early evening. And these could make some noise with some 60, 70 mile per hour winds, as we mentioned, 1/4, $half size hail, and yes, possibly even a few tornadoes, especially with those semi-discrete supercells here out ahead of the main line. Something to keep an eye on. Now, this is also going to be a heavy rain setup. So regardless if we see severe weather or not, heavy rainfall is most likely here from East Texas into Southeast Texas near Houston and Galveston, up here through Shreveport, into Monroe, Jackson, Mississippi, Birmingham, Tuscaloosa, and Huntsville, all the way to Chattanooga, Knoxville to Johnston City there, all the way into the Atlanta metro, and even over here toward Raleigh, as well as Asheville and Greenville here into the Carolinas. We're going to be seeing anywhere from 2 to 4 inches worth of rain, and that could cause some flash flooding and hydrological issues across the deep south as we go through later on this week. Now, our second winter storm is also a storm to pay attention to. This will also bring some big impacts to millions of people. There's our first winter storm moving out. We got high pressure, Arctic high, by the way, 1035 building. That's going to bring down some cold air. Here comes our next system as we go into Thursday. This is across the West Coast. Let's look at this as it moves on to the West Coast, because California is going to get bombarded by precipitation once again. As you realize, we've just got done with atmospheric rivers over the past couple of weeks here. It's been a little bit dry. Now we're starting to pick up with another big storm here. Very heavy snow as we go into Thursday across portions of the Sierras. Very heavy rain in the foothills here. And this is going to be in Southern California too. It's not going to be just Northern and Central California. We're talking Los Angeles, San Diego, and San Bernardino. And then looking here as we go into Thursday night, that just continues. And then Friday, and then finally we shut off the taps and that storm moves east Saturday morning, but not before producing some pretty hefty rainfall amounts for California. We're talking most of coastal California, north to south, 1 to 3, possibly 4 inches of rain. We got some runoff here. Mudslides will definitely be possible as the soil's still saturated in some areas from our past and most recent atmospheric river events. Now, as you go up in elevation, as you realize, colder air as you go up in the atmosphere. So we're going to see, those snowflakes out there in the Sierras, right? We're talking 3, 4, 5 feet here in the Sierras just over that 2 to 3 day period, Wednesday, Thursday, and into Friday. So a lot of snow out there for the watershed out west. And by the way, not a lot of people talk about this, and I will. We're going to see a lot of wind here across California. So it's not going to be just precipitation. Wind-whipped rain and snow is going to be a thing too as we go through the weekend. And you can see the wind gusts here in the valleys and, in the coastal areas could be pushing 60, 70 miles an hour. So this also could be a big deal and, creating impacts for California moving into the weekend. Now, as we push past the weekend, or push past late week and get into the weekend, rather, we're going to be seeing a low pressure system in eastern Colorado, and that's really going to mature. It's going to move southeast. It's going to grab Gulf moisture with it, and it's going to move northeast toward the Ohio Valley, and it's going to mature. And a maturing storm system means the severe weather side and the cold side are going to be pretty significant with this storm heading into the weekend. And look at all the moisture this is going to be grabbing already on Friday, and it's still in eastern Colorado. It's going to move southeast toward North Texas and the Texas Panhandle. Grab that moisture. Look at the blues, the pinks and purples starting to show up here. That's precipitable water anomalies of percent of normal, like 300% of normal. That is well above average moisture levels here in the Ohio, Tennessee River Valley, and that's going to be squeezed out like a sponge, right? We're going to see some pretty heavy rain, some ice in the transition, and then snow on the northern side, and we're also going to be seeing severe weather. Let's talk you through the evolution of this storm. So this is the second winter storm. Here comes Saturday, snowfall in the blue further north, so similar areas as the midweek storm, talking Des Moines, Kansas City, Chicago, Milwaukee, Green Bay, all the way over here toward Detroit, Grand Rapids, Traverse City, and maybe Fort Wayne, Indiana, Toledo, okay? And then as we go through Saturday, we're going to see that transition zone somewhere in between. Could be near St. Louis, could be near Indianapolis, or even over here toward Pittsburgh, something to keep an eye on for ice. And then the green is the rain, and it could be some pretty heavy rainfall as well, but we're also paying attention to the evolution of severe weather with this storm system as well. We're going to get to that just momentarily. So sticking with the cold side, we're talking several inches of more snow. So even if you don't get a big snow here midweek system, hold your hopes up for potentially a bigger snowstorm for the weekend in similar areas, right? Chicago, Des Moines, over here into Kansas City, Detroit, even into Fort Wayne, and possibly even the Toledo area, Akron, Erie, Pennsylvania, Buffalo, maybe even over there toward Pittsburgh as we go through the weekend. We have the transition on the southern side of the snow. You can imagine there could be some ice there, and then we have some heavy rain on the warm side, and this is going to be heavy rain from Kentucky down into Tennessee, possibly 1 to 3 inches of rain or more. And then you go further south, and that's where we tap into the unstable air, right off the Gulf. The day 5 outlook from the Storm Prediction Center already highlighting a widespread slight risk here. This is a level 2 out of 5 on the risk scale, and this is likely going enhanced here as we go probably into day 3 or so. I would not be shocked to see this already enhanced in the next couple days. Maybe even a moderate risk as we do get closer here, but the dynamics I'm seeing, because look at the dew points here. Saturday afternoon into Saturday evening, 60s degree dew points all the way up into Kentucky here. Very large warm sector for February with this storm. We're looking at not large Cape, which is convective available potential energy, otherwise known as storm energy, right? For those storms to really become severe and produce all those hazards, damaging winds, hail, tornadoes. The higher the value, the better chance of that. And you can see for February standards, decent, around 1,000, 2,000 joules per kilogram. The further south you go, say toward New Orleans, it is much higher. What's concerning me is this time of year, not so much the storm energy, but what will pick up the slack for the lack of it will be the wind shear, okay? We're going to see quite a bit of it here. This is your 500 millibar mid-level jet. Notice as it matures, you see these brighter colors as it moves east. That's really going to pick up here across the Arklamis and the lower Mississippi Valley region as we go into the weekend. And our low-level jet is also going to pick up steam. That could be over 60, 70 knots here, and that could create our low-level shear for tornado genesis across parts of Louisiana, into Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, and even, who knows, maybe as far north as Tennessee. Nashville is in play with this as well. So going into Saturday morning, isolated scattered storms from West Tennessee, so in and around the Memphis area, Little Rock, back toward Texarkana. Be watching out already for some severe weather. And then as we go through the day, notice how this just matures as that storm energy builds. The wind shear starts to strengthen as the system moves up toward the Ohio Valley, and it really explodes with thunderstorm activity from Shreveport to Monroe, Baton Rouge, down to New Orleans here, Jackson, Mississippi, all the way up there toward Yazoo City and Tupelo, even into Nashville. We have to keep an eye on this into Saturday evening, and this will be after dark. I think nocturnal tornadoes will be a risk here, and we could even have a couple of strong tornadoes, okay? We're not talking EF0s or 1s. We're talking EF2 tornadoes or stronger. That is definitely on the table for your Saturday system. So when you put the two winter storms together, this is the totality of snow we'll see. Pretty decent snow here in the purples and pinks, anywhere from around a foot to foot and a half here across Iowa, southern Wisconsin, far northern Illinois, especially up there toward Highway 20, and then into much of lower Michigan, northern Indiana and Ohio, and then picking up with 2 to 3 feet over here into southern Ontario and Quebec, and that could lead into northern Maine as well with 2 to 3 feet of snow between the two winter storms. This goes all the way through Monday, February 17th. Two winter storms with ice. You can see it glazed to maybe upwards to 1/4 of an inch of ice, especially over here with cold air damming. West Virginia into Virginia, western North Carolina could have some pretty hefty ice totals there potentially with that. And then some very heavy rainfall. We're talking rain totals, widespread basis in the oranges and reds, 2 to 4 inches. And then where you see these brown shaded colors like southern Kentucky, middle and eastern Tennessee, northern Georgia, northern Alabama there into central Mississippi and stuff like that, that's around 6 inches at least of rain. Some of these totals could even be pushing towards double digits. Would not be surprised with the training of the thunderstorms over the same areas here. So flash flooding will become an issue. Now going into next week, Monday, February 17th through Friday, February 21st, we're going to see some pretty cold air. Now we've been talking about the polar vortex. You probably heard a lot of meteorologists talking about the stratospheric polar vortex. It has disrupted. It will split, and that means we're going to see some cold air down here in the lower 48. And with that snowpack we just laid down, right? We have two winter storms. That is going to just basically freeze us even more, right? It's going to make us colder across the Midwest and the lower Ohio River Valley. So we're going to see these blues and purples, 20, 30 degrees below normal for the late portion of February. It's pretty cold, and a cold, dry air, which means it's going to push that storm track a little bit further south and east, and it could give us a shot for some snow down here in the deep south. We're not losing hope yet. We definitely have a shot for some snow, potentially as far south as the Texas Panhandle, North Texas into Oklahoma, central and northern Arkansas, and who knows, areas that have severe weather this weekend could have a shot for snow as we go into next week, later next week, around the 19th, 20th time frame. Tennessee, northern Mississippi and Alabama, North Georgia, the Carolinas. I'm not saying it's a 0% chance. It's still a low chance, but it's still a chance nonetheless. When there's a number, there's a chance, that's for sure. Here's the snow line as we go into next week, and you can see it's a lot further south than we see it here this week and this weekend. You know, we got our winter storms up towards Chicago. This might trend south of Chicago, so more of St. Louis in towards the, Oklahoma City area, Tulsa, into Lexington and Richmond, over here to Roanoke. So the snow line going to be pushing a little bit further south as we go into next week. Make sure, again, I know it's the end of the video, subscribe to the channel, follow along with all my detailed, accurate weather breakdowns, turn on post notifications so you are notified for future videos and live streams here on this channel on Weather on the Go. Like the video, especially if you did find it informative and you did enjoy the video and the breakdown as well. Also, share this video with friends, family, and on social media. I do appreciate everybody who shares my videos and gets the information out there for me as well. I definitely appreciate it. You help me out so much, so thank you so much, everybody. Thank you for watching, and I hope everyone has a wonderful and safe rest of their Tuesday out there.